Okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Best Thing Ever, a podcast about the stuff our friends like. As you know, I can be something of a hater. This week, I've hated on such things as meteorologists, anagrams, everybody at Trader Joe's last week, and especially the 5 love languages. Wow. That was my week. But that's not what this is about. This show is about finding new things to love and ways to love them more, specifically about learning about stuff my friends like. This is episode 27, and this week we're going to be talking about The Good Place. Ezra is going to be telling us all about season 1, specifically, of the sitcom The Good Place, including such incredible moments as Ayn Rand, Nerds Behaving Well, and Sesame Street. All that and more coming up on today's episode. Let me introduce you to our hosts. My name is Alex Falcone. I'm a comedian. Oh, and I'm going to introduce everybody in a game that I call 3 Hosts and a Lie. 3 Hosts and a Lie. It's fun that the hosts are just now seeing which facts I've picked from their list of facts they submitted to me. But one of these facts is not true, and one of these hosts is finding out for the first time, or it's mine. You never know. So I'll tell you at the end of the show which one of these was true. 4 fun facts, 1 lie. I'm Alex Falcone. Comedian. You can see me on the road. The next week I'm going to be in Portland August 31st, and then Oakland on September 2nd, and then I'll be in Fort Collins and Denver at the end of September, and Reno in late October. So come out and see me do some stand-up. AlexFalcone.ninja. Fun fact about me, I had an ice cream flavor named after me. That's cool. That's a pretty cool fact.
That is cool. What was it called?
It was called Falconiac. Falconiac. It had cognac in it. Yeah.
So did you not try it then?
I did, yeah. No, I tried it. It also had some chocolate.
Makes sense. Everyone knows the 2 things you love most in life: cognac and ice cream. So
yeah,
Alex,
the cognac guy.
That's
I'm more into puns
lore.
than I am into ice cream integrity, I guess. And Jimmy Fallon already had done like one of them had already done pieces of cone in an ice cream, and so you couldn't just do ice cream Falcone.
A snifter of ice cream though, with you at the table at the fireside, would have been really nice, just swishing around.
That would have been a good marketing thing if we had done that. It was only available for a limited time at Salt and Straw.
If there's never cognac again in the world, no one would care. I'm just going to say it.
Rappers would care. They love cognac.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't care. Revise the statement.
Yeah. How about you speak for yourself, Ezra?
Yeah,
point.
We're trying to speak for the hip-hop community.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about more things that if they cease to exist, you wouldn't notice? It feels kind of mean when you say it that way. Ezra Fox, the person who'd like to remove things from the earth that he's not currently using, is our chief marketing officer. And a fun fact about him, he has auditioned for 3 different game shows, but was not chosen.
Yeah, one of them was The Price is Right, and the other 2 weren't. So
great. Yeah. And if we were playing, if we were guessing how many game shows you'd auditioned for, we might have just said 1, because it would have been easy to not go over that way.
Whoa, yeah.
What's the audition price for Price is Right? Like, do they come in and be like, "Have you ever gone shopping before? Do you know what money is?"
Yes.
And they show you a dollar bill, and they're like,
because they pull. That's the show they pull from the audience. So you could have just been on the show, and then you don't. All of a sudden, you're on the show, right?
Well, so everyone has to be a certain level of approachable attractiveness to get into the audience, and I was above that bar. Is the thing.
That's perfect.
Too hot.
This person is too hot for a Price is Right audience member. Yeah.
They deserve to pay for the folks at home.
Yeah,
that's a rule that Drew Carey implemented. That Bob Barker was not. He was all about pretty people. But Drew Carey,
if you want to just double check, by the way, to see if Ezra is hot enough for The Price is Right, but not too hot for The Price is Right, you can follow along. We're a video podcast as well on YouTube.com/AlexFalcone. Also joining us today, our chief historian, although he's got the day off as Ezra's running this episode, but it's Mr. Anthony Lopez. Fun fact about you: you were shoved to the ground by a faith healer as a child, as a youth.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a fun fact.
That did happen.
Is it fun? Is that a fun fact or?
Well, I didn't have a itchy throat afterwards. You know, I was feeling a little sick when it happened, but I gotta say, when I got up, I was feeling better.
Ooh,
my jump shot was back. My back didn't hurt anymore. Yeah,
so that's why you were visiting the faith healer. You were like, my jump shot is weak.
Yeah, he was really having trouble behind the line, and then a faith healer brought him back. the fun level of this, Hunter, you just got, anytime I learn a thing I didn't know, that's fun to me. So all facts are fun facts.
Yes.
That's how I think of it. And then rounding out our panel, welcome back. He's been traveling, but we're glad to have him back on the show. He's our official board game influencer. He's Mr. Hunter Donaldson. And a fun fact about you is you have a misaligned hip bone.
Another fun one. Another really fun one. Ooh. Yeah, my hip bone is messed up.
I asked you guys to submit me facts. So if they're not more fun, this is on you.
Oh, yeah. I got weird bones. And the doctors told my mom about it. They were like, his bone's weird. He's going to make him walk weird later. And my mom didn't do anything about it.
Is it still connected to the leg bone? Because that's what I know about hip bones. So that they're supposed to have done that.
Yeah.
That's good.
The song they sang for Hunter when he was born was it was a strange chorus. It was very, the hip bone's connected to a lot of bones it's not supposed to be. I don't know why. He's got a very connected hip bone.
Yeah, that's correct.
So they had the choice to do something and they chose not to.
Oh yeah. Basically, doctor was like he's gonna look. It's just gonna look weird when he's walking around and stuff. He's gonna have a weird like kind of gait to him. And my mother was like, okay, well, how do we fix it? And the doctor was like, well, you got to put the bones are still malleable, so we put a brace on him. Then later it'll all kind of correct or like shape in a better way. And my mom was like, if you put a brace on him, he's gonna walk weird right now. And the doctor was like, yeah, I guess so.
She was out thinking. Yeah. She was playing chess while he was playing checkers.
And then she asked the doctor, she was like, is there a chance it'll just heal on its own? And he was like, I guess. And she was like, let's do it.
Is it the type of thing that you almost like, well, why did you even like bring it up then? Like,
I don't know. I don't know why my mom told me that.
If no one had ever told you, would you know you had a misaligned hip bone? It's not like you can look at it and be like,
when I was little, I just tripped over myself all the time. I couldn't play, and my dad wanted me to play a lot of sports, and
so this
that
affected
didn't
your
work
jump
out.
shot.
Yeah, my jump shot was horrible. I couldn't play soccer at all. Soccer was impossible. I don't even know why. That was the one they always wanted me. He's got to play soccer, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why it was always soccer.
Your parents living in the woods were big soccer people,
right?
They'd take me to. There was a YMCA in Pine Bluff that I would get taken to, and then I would play sports there, and I just sucked at all of them. Of course.
Well, this fact is, it was fun and then not fun and then fun again. It's been a roller coaster, really.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Have you considered your parents just thought so little of soccer that they were like, if he can do soccer, he's going to be able to like easily get to other things, you know?
I think the logic was he's a dweeb. They were like, he's a dweeb, and the soccer is the dweeb sport to them. Yeah. You know, like football's the cool guy sport. Baseball, that's acceptable. Soccer, that's for weirdos. So, like, he's probably a weirdo, so you should play soccer, I guess.
It's definitely a bit of a dweeby sport. I've told Ezra this story before, but we had a dweeb on our soccer team who kept trying to come up with trick plays. And his best one was we would all hold hands in a circle tightly, link arms around the guy with the ball, like Voltron, and just walk straight through the field and into the goal, and you couldn't stop us.
Yeah, there ain't nothing dweeby about that. That's just good strategy right there.
I've never seen it done, but I still don't see the flaw in it. I think it might work.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about soccer, but I think that violates the offside rule. I don't think you can do that.
Possibly.
You know,
quite possibly.
I think that's a problem. I don't think a ref would allow that in a regulation game.
Well, let's move on from this game to the game of life, the game of afterlife. We're going to try to get into heaven now. So today we're talking about The Good Place. What year did this air? When did season 1 drop as?
This is 2016, I want to say.
2016. So let's all
great year.
Let's all rewind our brains back to 2017 for our core memory. And
sorry, 2016.
Could be literally no way to tell. Could be either of those 2 years. As rewind your brain back to the late 20-teens, mid 20-teens, and tell me about your core memory of The Good Place.
I watched it and I liked it.
Awesome.
Did you want me to vamp, or is that pretty good? I think we're good.
We talked a lot about sports already and hips, so we might just keep moving. It seems like we all watched Good Place around when it was on, right? Pretty soon after. And this is not like all of you guys are finished before today. You've all seen it all?
Yeah, 100. I
didn't watch this show. What is this show? I don't even know what this is. I thought you were going to tell me about the show.
That's what I was wondering about.
You've not seen The Good Place?
No, I don't like comedy shows.
I can't tell what bit you're doing.
I'm not doing a bit. This is actually a fact about. This has actually come up before.
You don't like
and
funny
you reacted
things?
the same way. But I don't know if it was on the podcast or in real life. But I do not. I don't like comedy shows.
Huh.
Comedy
I
shows
mean, I'm
are
selective about them. I don't like all of them. I don't like them easily, but
it's just not a genre I get down with, which is weird.
This one is this
weird.
was I mean, this was always going to be like this is going to be hard not to like for me specifically, in that it was comedy like of a tone that I really liked, and to have a supernatural and philosophical element in it is pretty good. This was like if they had taken my brain in there and like an algo did something, this probably would have hit most of the pleasure centers.
Well, so as how much are you going to spoil and not spoil this episode, given Hunter's
I thought about this.
Spoil whatever you want.
No. So I thought about this deeply because in the off chance that anyone listening has not seen All the Good Place, specifically even all the first season, I am just talking about leading up to this and doing the first episode. That is all I'm going to do.
Cool.
I think that's
just
enough.
up to in the pilot. Oh, great.
Because I think that is enough.
Let's get into the deep dive. Ezra, please take us all the way into season 1, episode 1 of The Good Place.
Okay, so welcome. Everything is fine. This is the first bit we see, like our opening shot, basically, of The Good Place. And I think in order to start with this well, I want to build on what we already know about humanity, okay? So we know a couple things. So lessons from our kids episode, remember, these are new people here, okay? And a lesson from the Red episode, we got a couple rules for humans, which is don't die, be lazy, make it good. Yeah?
Question mark.
A question mark. Try, I'm going to add one onto it, which is maybe don't kill. And I think here's what I'm seeing with humanity.
Ezra's chill as hell 4 commandments.
Maybe don't kill.
Can we harden up that fourth point though? Do we really need to say maybe and it's a question?
Well,
like, is there any way we could maybe just? I don't want to come down
could
too
you do
hard.
one or the other? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing with humans that I've seen is that it's real tough to tell us to do most things. And so what we're going to talk about is kind of how do people kind of become moral in the first place. All right. So essentially, look, early on, humans, it's kind of like what Anthony was saying, like fire is running up the scoreboard against humans. Like just nature generally is running up the scoreboard against humans. We're not doing super well comparatively. Like we're fine, I guess, but we're surviving. I don't think there's a lot of room for choice, right? We are just doing what we have to do. At a certain point, right, when you get good enough at surviving, then it's not just how do you survive, but it's like how do you survive in a way that you want to, right? And so we have this the omnipotence dilemma basically, right? Which is like you could maybe kill your neighbor or not. Like you might have the tools to do that. You don't necessarily have to. You might have to think about other people. There is this kind of interesting thing that shifts, right? Let's say going back to the Fertile Crescent, where we got like our love of cats, and bread from everything that happens from this move to we have surplus agriculture, we have enough food, so we don't actually have to worry about survival in the same way.
Right.
It's CBE, man. That's what we talk about all the time. Cats, bread, and efficiency. That's how I live my life. That's my grind culture, man. CBE.
I gotta have cats. I gotta have bread. I need efficiency.
And bread works on like multiple levels. So like,
You gotta have that bread.
It's a really good analogy. CBE, man. Dude. Live your life that way.
I like it.
Okay. Yeah. So as we are now making a lot of food, some things break out that we maybe didn't have time for. One is some choice. Another might be some art, right? So it's like you don't have to have everyone straight up be like farming all the time or hunting or gathering. Like
you got time for goofing.
You have a little bit of time goofing, and also you got a lot more people hanging out in the same place as well. So it's like, okay, can we all get along? Can we all get on the same page? And so can you solve these two problems with one thing, basically? Can you get some, can we agree basically what maybe we should do to not all kill each other and hang out together and be chill? And how do you also get that information out to everyone in a way that they would actually want to follow it? And that's kind of the core of this is like, can you use art basically to make you a better person?
So can you write these 4 chill as hell commandments? Can you paint it on a cave wall so that other people see it and are like, yeah, maybe we don't kill?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But then again, can you hang on to that third one? Can you make it good? right? What's the best we can do this? So when we are a full house, we're all hanging out on top of each other. There was one rule that we kind of like established, and it's interesting because I was just telling this to my kids, where sometimes it's hard to know what's right and wrong, but it's I think easier to know what's not fair. And so at the very least, being fair is kind of a key part of it. And this is basically the golden rule. The early version of this I found was from this, there's a poem called The Eloquent Peasant that was Egyptian. There's like around 2000 BC. We don't have the actual, I think, text. We do have like summaries of it.
Well, we have the text, but it's like pictures of birds and shit. We don't know what it means.
Yeah. Text isn't even fair. We have the stampies.
Yeah.
We have the wingdings of it. There was this line in it, and okay, so this is basically a peasant a guy was a jerk to this peasant, and then essentially he kind of filibustered his way to get his comeuppance, like to make it be fair. And he was so good at filibustering that like after like 10 days of like haranguing this dude, and then like 10 days of like basically like talking to his boss's boss was like, yo, I like how this dude talks. Like, let's not kill him. Instead, let's give him everything back about his donkeys and such that he got. So that was more or less the
a great character. It's especially relevant for sitcom life. I love this guy.
I think about all the time how I wish I lived like with early man when like concepts were new. Like the first time someone was like, "Don't be rude," and people were like, "I just gotta chill." Oh my god! Did you hear that?
Don't be rude.
Don't be rude. That's fucking.
Listen to this guy over here
dude.
Not being rude.
Blowing
Come
my
on, let's go
mind.
kill an elephant.
Dude, I've been rude all day.
Like someone said, like, I think therefore I am, and everyone was like, whoa. Oh my! People like thousands of years later are still like, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard, right? And it would have been great.
It is.
They have like framed tablets on the wall of I think therefore I am, where it's like, yo, you check out my new art. It's pretty good, right? Cross stitched on the stone.
So this one peasant had this like badass thing to say, but then Jesus like stole it.
Well, so everyone is stealing this left and right, basically. Everyone has this idea, right? So in the Eloquent Peasant, it's like, this is actually, in the Eloquent Peasant, it was from a goddess, I think, that gets the line.
Oh, good. This is too good for a peasant to even if he's eloquent.
Right. Even as eloquent. So it says, now this is the command, do to the doer to make him do. That doesn't make any sense to me, but apparently Wikipedia thinks this is the same idea of going back and forth.
I mean, that sounds way more sexual. Right?
That's right.
If you want him to do, you got to do him.
You got to do him. Yeah.
The way you want to do it to do the doer.
Wikipedia also I think,
sounds like a Mountain Dew ad.
Yeah, you got to do the do and then do to the doer what you want to do.
Code Red.
Yeah. The Elegant Peasant was a big gamer. He loved his game of juice. Just constantly drinking Mountain Dew, ripping it.
Oh my god! So there's, I think, a negative version of this. Like, don't do to people the thing that you don't want done to you is another version of this, right? That was also happening early on. But everyone has some version of this, right? So Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Baha'i faith, Hinduism.
Oh yeah, let's see who's excluded here. Who did you not?
I mean, look.
Did you not deem worthy?
I'm sure
This
there's like
is just Ezra's classic list of his top 10 religions.
Top 10 religions. Damn, Wicca made it.
Barely.
Yeah, Wicca snap.
That's very Portland of you.
But yeah, I mean, look, I bet like whatever, like if there's a Chetism out there, at one point Chet says like, "Hey man, be cool." Like I would be cool.
I do think
Every religion except Scientology, which says if someone crosses you, destroy him, destroy his family, destroy his career. That's an actual. That's
pay us 80% of your income, and we'll do that for you.
Yeah.
Another fun one that I don't think has this is Norse and Greek mythology. I think they have no concern for.
I do like this Wicca one though. I think we should, because we're not able to read all these, but this one's great because it's called the Rule of Threes. So it says 3 times your acts return to thee. This lesson well must be learned. Thou only gets what thou dost earn. Do you serve ducks here? So it's just a classic Rule of Threes. Mm-hmm. Right there.
That's very silly.
Nice.
But also, like, again, if it rhymes, that's probably true. So
it's true. Yeah, not all of these rhyme. So huge points to the Wicca for knowing that. Like,
yeah, they got bonus.
If it rhymes, it stymes.
But yeah. Yeah, we're just crushing.
We can cut that one.
So
can
again,
cut
this
that
is
one.
that.
Both of those were good first drafts that I think if I had workshopped some more, I could have really solid versions of those jokes.
Well,
If
sometimes
only
I
that's
think
how
we should do
podcasts
that
work.
when we're doing podcast discussions. If we could just like stop and like do some writing, and then get
Yeah,
back
we
into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. We're back. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we would cut that. We wouldn't even say we're back. We would just cut
No,
cleanly
we would.
to the
We'd
good
be like,
version
we're
of
gonna
the
take a
joke.
quick writing break, and we're gonna be back with a zinger.
Yeah, I think we could do better. Let's go and hit it again.
This singer
hit the
brought to you
writing
by Awesome Coffee Club.
Yeah, I think it would be something like 3 times the acts return to you, then a second sentence, and then you'd say, "Do you have any nails?" No.
Yeah.
Do you have any grapes? I think it would have to be the joke one part. My favorite part is that the bartender takes this duck's requests very seriously at all
Yeah.
stages, even though he hates the duck. He still kind of like respects him enough to talk to him, which is crazy.
Okay,
Anyway.
okay. Look, I don't know this joke. Can you just tell the joke and stop referencing? This is the
You don't
worst
know
way to
this
hear a
joke?
joke. No.
You've never heard? All right. I mean, this is very simple, but it's just a duck walks into a bar. Bartender's like, "Hey, we don't serve ducks here," and so the duck leaves, and ducks back. And duck comes in the bar and is like, "Hey, I think he asked for grapes. It doesn't matter. He asks for something." The bartender's like, "You get out of here! If you come back one more time, duck, I'm gonna nail your feet to the floor." And so the duck leaves, and he comes back, and he goes, "Hey, you got any nails?" And the bartender's like, "No." And he's like, "Good. Got any grapes?" That's the joke because
Okay,
it was
I do
an
like
empty
that.
threat.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, it's
Yeah,
not
see,
a great
it doesn't
joke.
sound like the bartender takes the duck seriously at all in the way you tell it. It feels like
I feel like if a duck walked into a bar, I wouldn't bother to explain to him my anti-duck policy. I
Well,
would
how do you know
just,
the bartender's not like a different type of bird that speaks?
Yeah.
You know? You're
Well,
not
the
giving me
bartender
enough
could be like a
information.
falcon.
You just blew the
Yeah.
doors off this joke, Anthony.
Well, it could be that the joke exists in a world where birds are all anthropomorphized.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're the only ones
Yeah.
that exist.
Thing, you know?
There's like a
Yeah.
hawk
Daffy Duck?
working behind this bar.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah.
It's great. I
Yeah.
love this idea. Also, this changes so many other jokes. Like a horse walks into a bar and there's
Never-
a hawk bartender, and he says, "Why the long face?" Anyway, it's so
Yeah.
different when you picture
Here's
the bird as the
If
bartender.
they
Oh.
never say explicitly what the bartender is, it's a hawk. That's
We
what
assume it's a hawk. Yeah, yeah.
Have
yeah.
you guys not seen
Night
the
Hawks at the bar.
documentary, the crime documentary, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It explains all of this.
It does
That
have a
all
lot,
jokes come from the cartoon world, right?
Yes.
That's where jokes
Yeah.
come from.
They come from
So,
Toontown.
like, yeah, they come from
Toontown.
Toontown. Like, it's like,
Or as I think of it, the 405 freeway.
yeah, it's a great
Ah.
documentary about, the making of the 405 freeway.
Yeah,
It's really
exactly.
sad, but it's good.
Okay, so we absolutely at some point we should come back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit and put this on the list.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
for now,
Oh, yeah.
we still got the good place, and basically we have this idea like, okay, we got some morality, we got some rules, they're okay at least, right? That's like a good like patch on it. How do we get it out to people in a way that they'll like, oh man, this is a banger, I want to put this on my wall.
Yeah.
And you know, you got the Torah. There's a lot of stories in there, and a lot of them are kind of like bummers, and like what not
Yeah.
to do. We got a lot of cautionary tales, basically. We
Yeah.
got the Greeks, right? A lot of also kind of bummers and cautionary tales, right? Like this is like why you should know who your parents are before you go around sleeping with people. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like this is
That is a powerful lesson. It applies less today. It's a lot easier to know today, but yeah, I can see how that was an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think like questions of blood relations, came up in other movies as well. It's important stuff. But like
The
it's
Greeks,
a lot.
like Hunter, did not like funny stuff. They really
Yes.
were into tragedies. They were
Yes.
into movie stories in which a guy had stuff, and by the end, he had nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the story. The guy, everything went bad for this guy.
Ooh, and I'm laughing my ass off.
That's what it is. You like comedy, you just only laugh at tragedy.
I only
That's
laugh
your
at tragedy.
comedy.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
the kind of guy that only laughs at a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fun thing. So we got the Iliad, great epic thing. Something I did not realize about the timing of the Iliad. Iliad's like 800 BCE. Like by the time like Socrates is like writing about like referencing the Iliad, that's like our distance to like Shakespeare. This is like old
Yeah.
stuff for them, which is just a weird thing to understand. Like stuff like the Iliad was old for the Greeks. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
why
weird
he-
idea.
It
That's
is
why he
weird.
got so much of like the story wrong. Like in real life, I don't think they ran into
So
like
I'm pretty sure
mythological
it's went
creatures.
this way. Yeah.
I think he
How
spiced it
dare
up
you
a lot.
assume we know the story of the Iliad at this point?
Well, you said
What
mythological
hubris
creatures that we assume.
for
Yeah, we get
you.
This
No, we
hubris
didn't-
will surely
Brad-
come back in some way. I don't know how.
Wasn't Brad Pitt in that one? I think we know the Iliad.
Yeah, we know the Iliad. That's our Iliad, though, not theirs.
I got it tattooed on my back.
The whole book?
The whole book, yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
Small font.
Don's rosy fingers. So basically, from the Greeks, we get some bummer stories that are good lessons. We also get some dense stuff, like we get some Plato symposium. We also get some stuff that's both dense and a bummer, which is like Plato's Apology.
Whoa.
And so, this has kind of been a common thread of like, how do you make people be good? Where it's like, well, let's maybe show them some consequences if they're not good. All right. And so from this thread, you get like, Dr. Faustus. You get, later you get the Twilight Zone. You get Devil down to Zor.
Oh, this timeline. You have to remember that Plato's Apology is to the Twilight Zone what the Twilight Zone is to us. It's hard to wrap your head around.
It's that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan
Peele's
Charlie
Twilight
Daniels
Zone.
Band. Yeah, you got these are the big. You're doing like only the hits of morality.
Only the hits.
Well,
And
and
except
so
for one thing I'm noticing, not quite a hit to me.
So we got Ayn
or
Rand also
normal
in
people.
there, which is interesting. Of like this idea of how do you make people good. Sometimes you have this idea of like, hey, this is my philosophy, and you can just be like, this is what the book is, right? And so I'm gonna like give the thinnest of plots to kind of like tie together.
Oh, right,
this,
right, because
this thesis.
You're not just talking about philosophy. You're telling us philosophy in art stories so that you can disseminate it. And in this case,
exactly right. And so this
the
is
thinnest of art.
Yeah.
Ayn Rand also Ayn Rand's philosophy, objectivism, also does not have a golden rule. It's do unto you as you want.
You would do unto
as
yourself.
to you.
Yeah.
Do unto you because you're the person that matters, and that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
What a wild experiment that somebody
Yeah.
spent their whole life on. You know what I mean? Like somebody on this planet was like, what if actually just be shitty all the time?
Yeah.
And
What's
then
so-
that
What's
was
so
their
great
life.
about it is that it's just like a classic Twitter hot take. Like, what if not what everyone thinks, but because there was no Twitter, it took you a 40-year career to disseminate your hot take. That was her whole life, was just trying to get people to hear her one spicy take that actually selfishness is helpful.
Yeah. And that doing good is actively bad.
Doing good is bad.
Yeah,
What if
And no
good?
one's actually. That's the thing I hate about it the most is the whole like no one's actually good. I've gotten inside of everyone's mind. No one is good.
And I love that, like, we can basically, I mean, it's a bit more nuanced than that, but we basically summed it up. And if you've ever seen, like, Atlas Shrugged, the amount of words it took her to say what we just said is mind-boggling.
For a famously light plot and easy to understand philosophy, long fucking book.
Oh my
What
God.
if man wanted to build a train railroad? What if?
What if sexual consent was not required?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing, and every time Ayn Rand comes up, I think it's important to remember this. One of the fundamental points of her writing is that if you are good at your job, you are morally good, regardless of what it takes to do that. And these books are bad. She was objectively bad at her job.
That's why they
while
call it
doing-
objectivism.
Exactly.
She was objectively bad.
Objectively bad. There's no world where you're like, this is a good way to write a book.
Yeah.
There's no part of it.
She ruined my high school. Like for like a whole year.
Yeah.
My entire high school was just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if y'all
Yeah.
experienced that, but everyone found Ayn Rand at the same time at my high school
My-
and just started acting shitty.
I also, if you write a book that's about how like trains are coming back, you've already got me 80% in. So losing me as a fan in that book is really embarrassing for her.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
was so ready for this to be like, man, these guys are so good at trains. There is one part where they go to like a rich people heaven in Colorado or whatever, where they take all the smart people and put them on an island, and they're like, the train person shows up and is like, "Oh, we could do a narrow gauge rail up this hill," and I was like, "Just do this. Skip everything
the only
else.
train-
Just explain to me the narrow gauge rail you're going to
Give me
install."
the Martian,
I'm so
but with
into
trains.
I'd be so ready.
But there's a couple more things I want to hit on the way out. So basically, we do have some things about, like morality comes up, but I think for most things I'm seeing now where it's actually good, it's like characters get to be good, or they change in different ways. And there's a philosophy that's going to be underlying their actions that you can get from it after the fact. But maybe that's not actually the focus of like, hey, we're going to teach you how to be good, right? So we got Lord of the Rings, you got like Star Wars, have like a good complete philosophy that's expounded elsewhere. But it's like most about this change, the hero's journey is what makes you good, but it's not specifically about trying to become good. You're trying to do other stuff to become good along the way.
Yeah, I modeled
appreciate-
myself after the Jedi Order. I don't fuck. I have no family or
Wait, they don't
friends.
fuck? Jedi
no
don't
worldly
fuck?
connections.
Is
Have
that
you
true?
not
That's the
seen the
whole thing.
prequels? That's the whole thing.
Wait,
the
Jedi-
whole
I
thing.
forgot that you're a big prequel guy.
They're weird
so-
warrior monks. They,
No,
Here's-
that's the
here's
whole
the
thing.
thing
Is
is-
Darth Vader fucked, and that's why he's evil.
Oh, it's like Little Red Riding Hood, where it like turns you to dark. if you
Imagine
do sex
watching
stuff.
Star Wars in 1977 and being like, I bet it's because he fucked. I bet that's why he's like that.
I just want to add, as I appreciate that you said Star Wars has expounded their philosophy. I feel like we need a few more movies and series before I really understand it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, me
What are
too.
they about? Like,
It's a
what's
little
happening with
light.
every single character on the side?
Yeah.
We don't know. Let's find out. Let's get the. Yeah, come on. Do something with a
More
franchise.
movies, more
Disney.
TV
Come
shows.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, we're
emailing
sitting
this
on
to
this.
Disney, right?
IP, right?
I love the way you said that. This is the meeting at Disney where someone's like, "What's happening with every other character we've ever met?" And then that's the answer. Then Star
Where
Wars.
are they? Where all
So
all
I
of
guess
them?
I should say-
literally the last season of Mandalorian spent 3 episodes based around the Mandalorian needs to take a bath. And that was like a whole plot.
He's
And so they
thinking
were
that
literally like, "What's he doing?
bucket.
He's got to take a bath, man. We're gonna show that. We're gonna cut that out. No, we got to keep that
Nah,
in.
he needs-
we
we
need to
need
spend
that
a
bath.
lot of time.
It is a good. I do feel like
taking
because
a
when we
bath.
did our episode about the Mandalorian on the old podcast, I feel like we did talk a lot about how stinky he was.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's
glad
true.
they were listening to the show.
Yeah, that's
They didn't
good.
take
This
it
is the key
for
thing.
the stinkiness, though. That's the fucked up thing.
Oh, interesting.
Took it
Okay.
for
It's because he
the weird-
fucks.
We
He had to wash it off.
Yeah.
TBD.
Okay.
So anyway, we have these two kind of like branches basically of morality stuff where it's like, okay, this is a bad situation, but like, W.C. Fields say, you can't cheat an honest man. So usually it's about showing what would be the right path through it if you were good, right? So Black Mirror can usually, when Black Mirror is fair or the Twilight Zone is fair, there is a way through. This is what I call the Mario Maker pack. Basically, where in order to upload a level for Mario Maker, you have to beat the level and show that it is winnable in some way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So like this is the
I
idea.
love
like,
that rule.
It's
yeah,
a
right?
good rule.
There's a, like if a horror or whatever it is, morality tale has it should be winnable in some way if you are good, if you are better.
I
And
do,
there's a
just like you were saying earlier that if something rhymes, we assume it's more true. The fact that this quote from W.C. Fields is on like a quotations square
know,
with his
it's
picture next to it
really
makes us
good.
think it's true, even though that is just a thing some guy said. That's not real. You can cheat honest people all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the best to cheat.
Con
They're
men
so
have
much
made
easier to cheat
so much
generally.
money.
Yeah.
It's really that. It's the type of expression. It almost feels like con man propaganda.
It
really
Like,
is.
it feels
Like,
like
yes,
something
yes.
confident
Yeah,
men
yeah.
spread.
Oh my God, that's
to
so true.
Convince. It's like if a bear is going to attack you, you're supposed to lay down and play dead. That's
It's
bear
like a bear.
propaganda.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that-
bear's like,
so the
yeah.
bears can get you
Yeah,
easier.
or the
Like,
cops told us that if you ask an undercover cop if they're an undercover cop, they have to tell you.
Tell
That
you.
like
Yeah.
classic.
Wow.
copy.
Bears hate when you cover yourself in honey and barbecue sauce and just stay there.
I just hate that. I hate that.
No, something. So yeah, another kind of current example of this cautionary tale that should be fair is Black Mirror. Michael Schur and Rashida Jones actually wrote together a teleplay for an episode, which is Nosedive, where in theory I think there are some ways out, but which is kind of interesting. And then so we have this one thing where it's like, hey, make adults less bad. We also have another strand basically of TV, which is can you make kids good? All right, and
Whoa.
there's with varied successes. So we got Sesame Street, we got Mr. Rogers, we got VeggieTales Bible stuff,
Which I watched as a child, and guess
I've never
what?
seen
It
this,
didn't
so
make me
I loved
good,
it.
and I'm in fact a pervert. So there you go.
All it did is make me want to fuck a tomato.
That's where I'm at.
That's what
Okay.
happens.
Thanks, VeggieTales.
It's
the way
weird
they
how-
pick up stuff with no hands, the way
Yeah.
things just kind
Horrible.
of float
Horrifying.
next to them. I've been chasing that sex fantasy ever since.
It's like Toy Story if you cut every corner possible.
You know, VeggieTales was actually before Toy Story.
Yeah.
Like it's
And
pretty,
after.
like that's actually.
I very much
but
agree
I
with
mean,
this. Yes.
But I mean, like in terms of like full CG animation
Oh.
shows, VeggieTales is like predates Toy Story, which most people think is like the first animated movie.
It is
CG
as far
animated
away
movie.
from Toy Story as
yeah.
we are from Toy Story.
Yeah.
But
or
yeah, a little
something.
fun fact about VeggieTales. It's actually like a pioneering show.
I mean, it's some of the earliest media I ever consumed that I remember consuming is VeggieTales.
Oh yeah, VeggieTales and Bible Man. I was all up
What?
on that shit when I was.
Bible Man?
Bible
Yeah, he was
Man,
a Bible
dude.
superhero.
Of
You
course
can look
he
him
is.
up.
I am going to.
He had a
Bible Man
really
in there.
good
1995
90s
children's
church.
television series. But it looks like he's punching. Is he punching?
Oh yeah, he
he's a
punches.
superhero.
Yeah.
What do you think
Yeah,
superheroes
he's got
do?
punch.
Well,
Look, there's always
I
something to
understand
punch.
he's a superhero, but he's also a Bible. You know, he's
Well,
part
yeah.
man.
Have
Did he
you
get
not
bitten
read
by
the
a
Bible?
radioactive
God
Bible?
will punch
Yeah.
it, dude. Okay,
Yeah,
God will
it's-
do
well,
way more
that's
than
true.
punch.
He's an Old
Thou
Testament
shalt not
guy.
kill. Thou can punch. I'm pretty sure. It's one of them.
Yeah, you can definitely
Thou shalt
punch.
punch. If Bible Man was Old Testament Bible Man, I would
Yeah.
definitely watch
Yeah.
that
Oh
show.
yeah, he's going into cities and cutting off all the foreskins of his victims. Like he's,
Plagues. He can just do plagues. He's just like it's plague time.
Bible Man can end your livestock
Yeah,
at any
yeah.
moment.
Yeah, he's flood. He's God's
Okay.
heavy when God wants to punish someone for no good reason.
Now your river's made out of
the
blood.
Fuck
Suck
up
on that.
Job.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this has been fun. So basically, we have this idea of trying to make kids good with varying results of how entertaining it is.
Yeah.
Some are bangers, some are not. And then also make adults less bad. And then it's like, okay, well, what if we world generally, right? We got Parks and Rec, we got Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Can we make adults maybe a little bit better? What would that look like? We have these good character arcs that happen in these shows. What would happen? And it's kind of happens along the way. What if we make this specifically about trying to make people good? And now we have to enter another key element, which is Lost. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because you have to be
So-
lost to be found. That's a classic Jesus thing.
This I was gonna say is I like because when I thought I might be doing this presentation for a little bit, my first thought was gonna be the first 20 minutes of it were gonna be exclusively about Lost.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like that was
100%
honestly,
believe you.
I swear to God, that was my first initial thing because
Yeah.
without Lost, I think there's a fair argument that Good Place, that most
my God.
modern television does not exist.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, in many of these ways, right? So, one, this is a weird show that really changed. It's been very expensive and a lot of big cast, a lot of philosophy going on explicitly and implicitly, a lot of mysteries layered over each other, and also like when basically Michael Schur had this idea. Like Michael Schur was a big Lost fan, and he was like, "Hey, I have an idea. Like, I want to call up Damon Lindelof and be like, Damon, we're gonna have lunch. We're gonna say, we'll play the game. Is this anything? And he pitches basically the show, and Damon's like, hey, this is good. This is something. Here are the 12 ways that you can go wrong with this when you're writing in this genre.
Right.
This is what I recommend. Like you do. And so like
From
the idea-
experience, Lindelof does as many as he can per season of television.
And also like the idea that like if Lost was made under like the Good Place model, like one of the things about Lost, that people I don't think take into context a lot is that this was 24 episode weekly television that they were producing while it was airing, right?
Yeah.
Lost was made under the old model. If Lost was made under the 10 to 12 episode seasons, like shows today go down to 6 episode seasons, right? That happens all the time. If Lost was made like that, it was made all
If
at
Lost
once
was
in
made
big
as a
chunks.
way to get around the writing union's requirements, it would be a different show.
Just if it was made today at all, what Lost would have looked like. They were forced by the network to go to 6 seasons on a premise like Lost, doing
Yeah.
20-something episodes per season. Like the fact that this show is as good as it is. Like I'm a big Lost fan. I'm a big Damon Lindelof and TV fan.
Hunter, what do you think? Are you a fan?
I was a huge Losty. I watched it week to week, and it changed my
Yeah.
life. But it
Yeah.
also is like a very flawed show to me. But and I think that's I think a lot of people feel that way. And I
Thank you.
agree
was
with
checking in
Anthony.
to see if you like anything.
Okay. Well, I do like that.
He does. This isn't
And
gonna.
I like Damon Lindelof a lot.
Yeah.
I like him as a guy. I
you
think he's
agree
got a
with
lot of really good perspectives. And I love The Leftovers. That show is fantastic.
yeah.
Yes,
Apparently,
one of
Michael
the
Schur
best
was also a
shows.
big fan of Leftovers.
Yeah.
Leftovers
rules.
is a masterpiece. One of the best, my favorite TV shows ever made.
There's some leftover, Hunter. I don't know if it's enough, but there's some leftover Easter eggs apparently sprinkled throughout the Good Place. Just
So
saying.
listen, so many people have told me about The Good Place, and there are a lot of things about it that sound really great to me. But I'm the type of guy, I only watch maybe 1 or 2 TV shows a year, and I kind of had to rewatch Star Trek The Next Generation, and I'm going to wait
Sorry, man. That
I got-
slot is already filled. Yeah.
I might need to watch Deep Space Nine again. I'm not
Right,
sure.
yeah, sure.
And so Good
Wait.
Place, we might be getting to it within this decade. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's on the
I
docket.
do. If to be fair, I do think you could probably rewatch The Good Place 10 times
Yeah.
in the length it takes you to watch The Next Generation.
Yeah, if you think the only reason, if you think you're only able to watch 2 shows a year, but it's because those shows are Star Trek, you could be doing 20 other shows.
Yeah.
Those
yeah.
you're picking shows that can only be 2 per year.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I love Star Trek, and I'm happy.
Pretty good.
And it make me happy.
I mean, Hunter's like, like basic philosophy. Fuck that. I want to argue about whether it's okay to kill robot men. That's the philosophy I want.
No, that's a good
Robots
point.
people. Like I
Yeah.
want. He wants that. He's
Can I
we're
kill
over
them,
here
please?
like reading philosophy 101. Hunter's freebasing the most complicated philosophy in the
I
world.
like
over here.
Star Trek philosophy because you get to be like, this was a good one, and I like this one, and they really didn't mess up here. And then the next one, you're like, they really messed up here. This is actually kind of horrible what they're saying.
Okay, so basically, this extra element of not only like lost style of storytelling, of like there's a central mysteries and like lots of cliffhangers. Basically, is I think the special sauce that takes you can tell a positive story that could actually make you better and find a way to integrate philosophy into it naturally. That is like legitimately like basically funny, very good storytelling, and I think I'd have to say like just really holds together. And so. We're only going to talk about the first episode. That's all we're going to spoil. So this is spoilers for the first episode now. Basically, premise right off: surprise, you're dead, but you're in heaven and you're a good place. But here's the first, like, I guess, end of like Act 1 cliff, like surprise is like the person at the core of this is actually a bad person. All right, they should not be in the good place. But they now are soulmates with a moral philosopher. Who really doesn't know what to do, is in a quandary. He might turn you in, but turns out he thinks that you're, you show that you're capable of some change during the episode, and so maybe you can outsmart the system and maybe earn your place basically in the good place. And that is pretty much the first episode. There's amazing, like this course, 6 group of people, basically so good. Like we talked about Ted Danson. Amazing, but like Darcy Carden as this like omnipotent Janet Alexa, not a robot thing,
Phenomenal.
so amazing.
Yeah.
So
Everyone
so
this
good.
show introduced me to, like, I am so excited when they pop up in other things. Like Darcy Carden, William Jackson Harper, I think is so talented. Manny Janinko as especially as this character is so incredibly good.
Well,
I've always
Kristen
been a
Bell
big-
has been in
Yeah.
like 2,000 shows before this, and every time she shows up, she's phenomenal.
She's always phenomenal, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess,
she was in Deadwood when she was like 16 or something, and plays this incredible character.
Yeah.
and Veronica Mars is amazing also.
Yeah.
And I think like Kristen Bell, it would not work without her. In that it's really hard, I think, to be generally like a very likable, very unlikable character, I guess, in lots of ways. So like she does a really good job of this.
She does. I would say this is one of the things where the show, I feel like, in order to fulfill what it's trying to do, has to be a little bit silly. Where it's like your main character she's accidentally in heaven. She should have been in hell because she's a monster.
She's
but we
bad.
want you to like her at every step. So all of our cutscenes of her being a monster have to be like very light and cute monster. Like she never does anything like bad, and it's a little weird. They're just pulling punches so much to everything she does bad. Like the bulk of the reason she's in hell is because she didn't want to be a designated driver. Like it's just very light in the things that she did wrong.
Yeah,
That's true. She like no one dies as a result of it. But she does cause harm, I guess, in different ways. And I think I should also say Jamila Jamil. This is like was her first acting job also as Tahani, and is
No
amazing
kidding.
as
She's
well.
so perfect. I've
It's
never
so good.
The most perfect casting.
Anyway, everyone in this is wonderful. Actually, I got some from my Facebook Hive Mind. Turned out that William Harper Jackson does seem to be actually a good person. So
nice.
Alex, our friend Amy, and our friend tell me that her spouse Sam was in a play with William, and like seemed to be an actual legitimately good person.
One of the most
my
impressive,
friend,
secretly ripped human beings I have ever seen in my entire life. You just,
that was
the first time
yeah, that
he
was a
takes
lot of
I
fun.
wanna
his shirt
be.
off in the show, I literally gasped out.
It's very upsetting.
He doesn't play like it.
Yeah.
They don't dress him like it, and
Yeah.
that man is so fucking
Well, right,
fit in
because
this show.
because it's TV where people like even if you play like a quiet nerd, you have to secretly be super
But it
hot.
works for Chidi's character too. Like he is
It does.
the
It does.
type of person he is. It makes a lot of sense.
He's so good. I'm very excited to see him in other stuff also. I mean, like, everyone I'm excited to see in other places. Oh, right. And also double confirmation. So apparently my friend Therese, her sisters went to college with him and also say that he is good. So this is like, it seemed like it was actually a good set as well. Like there are some like Ted Danson is a joy on set, like which is really nice. Like it just seems like these are all people who really liked each other and were really good to each
Earlier
other as
this
well.
year, I saw
anyway,
William Jason Harper help Ant-Man defeat Kang down in the quantum zone, the quantum
Wow.
realm. So, I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have just gone home, but, like, he stuck around.
he could have stayed out of it.
So, I mean, that's
really
a good
cool.
guy, you know.
good job, William.
I just want to I want to touch on something real quick. So it sounds like the conflict of this first episode is that, or maybe possibly the entire series, is that the main character, which is Kristen Bell. Kristen
Yes.
Bell is okay. So she's a bad person. She's bad at morality, but then she gets like better at it, or like that's the
Yes.
conflict,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This reminds me a lot of what my friends used to tell me that there's this this University of Central Arkansas film professor that likes to talk about scripts a lot, or he teaches like script writing. And he has this thing that they like to quote a lot that's really funny, where every time he's talking about how to tell a story, he'll be like, so it's like, yeah, the story is like this. It'll be like a guy, and maybe he's bad at juggling, but then he gets better.
Yeah.
And he just keeps doing that. He'll be like, so there's like a guy, and like maybe he wants to make muffins, but he doesn't know how to make muffins. So then he learns and he gets better at making muffins. You know, so this sounds like a good, by Bob May's
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
Shout
you
out
love
to Bob
this.
May.
Yeah.
This sounds like a good story.
That's kind of it, is that this is all about not only can you be good, but can you get better, basically, I think is
Yeah.
one of the kind of key parts of this. And like I think it does a really good job of trying to earn that.
Yeah.
And they don't pull punches, I think, for the most part. So that's I think that's all I really want to get into. It's just that
Yeah.
along the way, the other thing that's really impressive is having that premise of bad person accidentally gets into heaven is great, and then to actually keep it sustained as strong as it was for 4 seasons, you need to know a lot of the next parts of that.
Yeah.
And where it's like, what's the second part of the premise? What's the third? What's the fourth? And to
Right.
have that really clean, that's been amazing. I think the last, like, I asked my my Facebook Hive Mind also for like other great things they liked of it. Ten Danson came up, frozen yogurt. My friend Derek said Derek was the best part. The last 5 minutes, and the finale came up a bunch. Janet, there's so many, like, Jeremy Bearimy. There's a lot of like one thing that's kind of fun at the very end, like the in the finale, no spoilers, we get a cameo basically from 2 of the philosophy professors who were like kind of the brain trust.
cool.
So this is Pamela and Todd May, who were like kind of helping to consult a lot of the stuff. And Todd May had this quote from his book, basically, which is that mortality offers meaning to the events of our lives, and morality helps us navigate that meaning. And that's kind of, I think, like that's why I think a show in the afterlife, specifically about trying to be good, is so powerful. And I think this is like this show landed what it wanted to do so well, which was really nice because it finished like January 2020. And so it was a really nice
Just in
moment
time.
before, before a lot of things got real weird.
It feels like it kind of got that the Arrival bump. Well, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but the Danny Villeneuve movie, The Arrival, came out the weekend or the week after
With aliens.
the Donald Trump election. Right? And it's this incredibly hopeful
I didn't remember
movie
that, but yeah. I
about like living through trauma, going through stuff, and like finding a grand meaning and like a hope against that, right? And this movie, like, it was a great movie. It's one of my favorites from the filmmaker. But like, I was gonna go see it anyway. We saw it the week, or I think it was like the week or the weekend of, or the week after the Donald Trump election, and it hit me so hard. It was one of my favorite film going experiences, and I think a lot of people saw that movie around because of that, to get that same kind of catharsis, or the movie really hit them because it was such a surreal time in that same way. I've heard a lot of people talk about this. And The Good Place also falls in that same thing, right? It premiered in January 2016, so would have been a little bit...
So wait, I think it was maybe it was January 2017. Okay.
Look, there's no way to tell if it was 2016 or 2017.
Nobody knows.
No one
we
will
have
ever know.
the best researchers on the case, and we will come back to you with a definitive answer eventually. All right. Well, Ezra, thank you so much for your presentation about The Good
thank you,
Place.
Ezra.
Thanks,
Great
guys.
job.
Let's rank it. But first, this episode is brought to you by our Patreon, patreon.com/BTEpod. BTEpod. That's us at BTEpod on Patreon. We really appreciate all of the people who donate to keep the show going, making it possible. Here's what I would like to say, what I'd like to ask about Patreon is I've been feeling recently like doing some Patreon-only bonus content. I feel like it's bonus content time. I've been feeling I want to make some bonus
wheel
content.
it out.
But I do not know what to make or how to go about it. So I would like those who are already on the Patreon, and I'll send out a message about this. But also, if you're considering joining the Patreon, I would love you to just shoot me an email, put a comment wherever the many places you can get in touch with us. Let me know something that would be intriguing to you as bonus content, and I will do my best to make it the best I possibly can. Hunter,
I got one.
You're not on
how about
Patreon.
Since y'all have all watched The Good Place, why don't you get together and do like a top 5 episodes or something like that? Or just talk about the whole show.
So,
Spoilers.
two problems.
Spoilies.
Number one, you're not a Patreon. Number two, your suggestion for content was, what if everyone else did something and I didn't have to do anything?
I know, that'd be so great, you know?
Because it was so close, you were almost there to say, well, obviously the bonus content should be that Hunter should watch The Good Place, and then we should do a spoilery check-in with Hunter about The Good Place. I know you
I got a lot of
episodes
movies
Dragon
I'm
Ball to
watching
watch.
lately, you know? I mean, I could talk about those. I saw Old Boy
Hell
in
yeah.
theaters. Old Boy's back in theaters. That movie.
Old Boy
that
is New
movie's-
Boy again.
Yeah, it's Old Boy is New Boy.
Old Boy is a real
That's pretty
opposite
Greek.
of The Good Place. It's a real bad place. Not the screening.
It's a bad place.
That's a
It's
real bad place.
This is a cautionary tale. This is I think there is a way through it if you ask important questions about who people are, and then you're probably okay. It's
Yeah,
just,
there are some
this-
biblical lessons here. If you guys want to check in at home, Patreons want to see if you would like to hear a bonus podcast where Anthony and Ezra and I talk about The Good Place, or a bonus podcast where Anthony, Ezra, and Hunter and I talk about The Good Place. Up to you. Would you pay more on Patreon to have Hunter be included, or less? Is it that if you pay more if Hunter's not
Oh, I
there?
love this.
This is how we'll find out. So we could
I
do that.
do
We could do a bonus
also-
podcast. We could do a video. We could do a video series.
What if we just Alex, we got you a dunk tank, and every time someone paid us, we dunk you.
I'm not against a dunk
What is
tank.
the content there? What is the actual
Alex,
content
Alex,
of that?
Alex, oh my God!
I just get a
Guys,
feeling
it's
people
wet
would
month.
pay for Alex to get dunked in the dunk tank.
Oh, I guess it is wet month.
It's
Technically,
wet
Ezra.
month. We have
Though,
to.
if you know,
Give
you
the
know. It's
people
wet
what
month.
they want.
Throwback.
I think that's just what they're asking for.
Look.
All right, we're gonna put you at a dunk tank.
It's a possibility. It sounds expensive. What's a dunk tank?
And you can just do a bath, and we can draw a target
Yeah, we can
next to the
fake it.
bath, and you could just
It
voluntarily
looks
on our
like
system
the
drop
close,
in.
There's one near me that'll rent a dunk tank for $375 plus
Tell them
delivery.
it's for the strike or
which-
something, and they'll give it to you for free.
What I'm gonna tell him is that's gonna really eat into our Patreon. So what can you give us a deal? It's for bonus
Tell 'em
content.
we'll
We'll see if they'll
plug
do it.
him.
Anyway,
It's for bonus
Plug him
content.
on the podcast. Your official dunk tank sponsor.
your favorite LA party rental store for the
Oh
dunk tank.
yes, co-sponsored. Also,
Yeah, I mean, I
realized-
guess you don't have to have a clever seat and a ball throwing. You could just be have a chair next to a pool, and anytime I do something you don't like, you just push me into the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just
That's
give people
cheaper.
a cup of water to dump on you. There's lots of
Totally.
ways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so-
the cheapest.
We should do it while we're recording. So we start a recording. Ezra gets on a plane. Okay, goes to. We're recording. What? Ezra shows up in Alex's room and pours water all over his head. Then he gets on a plane, goes back home, and gets back on.
Oh my
wow.
God.
So we do. I mean, that's it's not a. I mean, it's LA to San Francisco, short flight, but live podcast might be a little long. Also,
Yeah.
Internet connection might be iffy. Well, I'm willing
it's cool.
to try.
We'll do it during the Dark Souls episodes. That's going to be like a 3-hour one anyway.
Oh, there we go.
You know, Ezra would not have played it.
Yeah.
So he can take the
So
trip.
all of this and more is possible. Patreon.com/BTE pod, and let us know what you'd like for some bonus content.
Oh, we
We'll
should
try to
make Alex play Dark Souls. That'd
yeah,
be
I'd
good.
be down for that.
If you want a video of me playing Dark Souls, that would work. A video of me playing Dark Souls while Ezra pours a cup of water on my head, also possible. We got some good
It's
ideas
like money.
already.
We don't really care what we do to get it. Alex
That's what I'm
has
saying.
no
I'm open
qualms
to a
with
lot of
anything.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll eat
Patreon.
stuff if you want me to eat. Just name what you want me to eat. I'll eat it.
I want to
sandwich.
watch you. I want to watch you actually eat Sling from Waffle House. That's what I want.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Nice for you to go to
Ooh.
Waffle House.
I want live from Waffle House. I want that experience.
I would love to show y'all how to be at a Waffle House because I
would be
do
good.
know.
You got to be
Yeah.
careful with
Perfect
what
video.
you
We know
offer
you do.
on the internet, Hunter. This is how you're going to end up just like some weirdo paying you to eat Slim Jims or something like that. Just like, I want that footage.
Yeah.
I just want
I
to
mean,
see
they
it.
pay
Be
well.
careful,
That's what I'm
Hunter.
trying to
You gotta
cultivate.
be careful,
You
Hunter. You
understand?
might get a career where you get paid handsomely, and all you have to do is eat some Slim
No,
Jims.
I'm talking like
Listen, I
a
don't
lot
want to
of
spell it
Slim
out for
Jims.
you, but you slide into my DMs late at night, you make a fake account, okay, and then you start asking me to eat stuff and send it to you, okay?
Okay. All right. Anyway, all
First
this and more
taste is
bonus
free.
content. We got to rank The Good Place. All right, Hunter, welcome back. I would like you to read the 25 best things ever as fast as you can, starting now.
Warm beverages, firefighters, chickens, Zelda, arcades, women's basketball, human children, My Neighbor Totoro, pro wrestling, romance novels, trees, Star Wars, to the moon, or no, the moon. Sorry, that's a bit.
it's a
I
video
messed
game.
up. Advice columns, variety, The Sun, fresh bread, Nordic trek, stand-up comedy, powerlifting, cat videos, Halo with the boys, half-assing it, new metal, and Waffle House. It's so
Hunter.
funny that I said to the moon and not the moon, but it's only funny to people that listen to Old Gamers Almanac.
Yeah, it's
if
not funny.
they
That
laughed
episode.
at that, no one else understands why I did that.
Hunter, what is the Nordic Track ski machine? We'll say this is also bonus content. A video of Hunter exercising, working out on a Nordic track.
No.
just skiing in place on a Nordic track.
Oh. Why can't I remember what it is?
Ezra, what would you like to see The Good Place go against here?
So I feel like I want to look 10 and up. I guess is where I'd be like, because I think My Neighbor Totoro has a really sweet, good message, and it's very subtext. And this is like, there's a matchup I think of like, okay, like this is sort of like a subtle kind of gentle, like, you know, nature-based philosophy, and something that's very more direct in like how to become a better person. They're very like in terms of like the joke density and like the pacing, it's all very different. So that's like, I kind of feel like it has to go above that, but that's what I'm kind of
How's
curious
the Good
about.
Place
Other than
and
that, I don't
jump
care.
shot? What's better, the jump shot or
Wait,
women's basketball? In the Good Place or women's basketball in the jump shot?
Here's the thing with Good Place. I like what you're saying. Is I think 8 to 15 is an interesting chunk right now because we have the list broken up into 4 columns, 3 full ones and 1 starting. And the thing about column B is that it's got My Neighbor Totoro, pro wrestling, romance novels, and Star Wars. It's it's kind of content heavy. So we have more real things on column A, and then more
Concepts.
scripts
Like media,
and
yeah.
stuff, media on column B.
You know, I think, you know, we have like a few things like the sun and the moon are kind of close together. You know, as sort of opposites, right? Chickens and firefighters. You know, the two genders.
Yep.
Match made in
Inside
heaven.
you, there
Yeah.
are 2 wolves. Yeah.
But I kind of feel like the Good Place and new metal should almost be balanced out a little
my
bit
God.
as
Oh.
like, you know, 2 opposites. They're really the 2 most different things you could ask for. The Good Place
This is
and
the poles
new metal.
of the universe.
But if they're very
you
different,
mean-
you could also keep them far
Yeah, but
apart.
I mean, maybe they have to be balanced that way. You know, new metal's the
How
second.
what does that
thing.
mean?
Good Place would be the second to last. Good Place could be second. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, so you're leaning towards 24th, 25th. You went below new metal. So Anthony, you're leaning towards 25th
I'm not
for
saying
it
that.
between new
I'm
metal
just
and Waffle
saying-
House.
No. That's not what. Anthony's being very complicated about what he's saying. It's making it hard to understand. But I think you're
Yeah.
saying that they're number 2. Like Good Place would be number 2
Possibly, or maybe.
Oh, you're saying it would be second, and then New Metal would be
Second
second
from-
to
yeah.
last.
Or
Yeah.
I think we move
Okay.
both of them to 10. New Metal / The Good Place. That's the 10th best
Wow.
thing.
now.
Into a tie
Yeah.
for 10th. Huh.
Are we experiencing the beginnings of a deal making phase?
Oh, Hunter loves the deal making phase. Hunter,
Kinda
you know,
sounds
this
like
is
a deal
hard
to
since
me.
you haven't seen it, but what are you feeling?
I don't know. Seemed pretty good. Seemed
well,
like y'all
I-
like it. We talked about all of religion and morality within it. So it seems like it must be a big deal.
I mean, I want to ask Hunter a question. Right? So you don't know really much about The Good Place. You don't know anything about Nordic Track. Going off your gut instinct,
Yeah,
which
dude,
one do you
even though
like
it's been explained to
more?
me.
Even though you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
The
Good Place.
Okay.
Okay,
So it's
nice.
definitely above the
Yeah.
Nordic Track. I think we can all agree about that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it can't- it's
absolutely.
not below. Okay.
So here's where I come down on this is I enjoyed it much more than My Neighbor Totoro. So I like it being near like in that area, and I think it's
Yeah.
above My Neighbor Totoro. So my vote is 8th.
But
I prefer human
I
children.
mean,
I think that's where I'm at too.
They're
This is-
human.
This is the best.
They're
not
human
real
in
thing.
My Neighbor Totoro.
no, they're not.
Are they
They're,
not human?
Ink on paper.
I mean,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you mean?
in counter
Well,
argument.
those people at the Good Place are not real people. They're actors. Okay.
but I like them.
actors
I
are
like
kind
them
of
too.
people. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
actors,
they're
I think
checking
actors
for.
are technically people.
All
Like,
right,
that's part
fine.
of their
Actors
niche.
are closer to people than
That's absolutely
animation.
That's what actors say. Actors say is like we are technically people.
Okay, yeah, we're people.
But to be fair, in Good Place canon, Kristen Bell's favorite person is Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's an important part of
Oh
her
my God,
character.
that is true.
And I feel like she would be offended if we put The Good Place above pro wrestling.
Well, but that character doesn't
Whoa.
know she's in a show, and we do know. So we have this information she doesn't have.
Well, okay, fine. How about this then? The Good Place, while very impressive 4 seasons, wrestling is live every Monday for the last 40 years. And
so
that's
true.
pretty impressive. They definitely haven't built, like, if you put all of wrestling on, like, literally like a scale versus all The Good Place, wrestling's got to beat. Shoulders to the mat, 1, 2, 3. The Good Place is tapping
Okay.
out. You know what I mean?
What if we shuffled this little trio?
Oh my
and
gosh.
we moved pro wrestling up 1. We
Above
moved
My
My
Neighbor
Neighbor Totoro down,
Yeah.
and we put the Good Place in the center.
So not only would the Good Place be getting in the top, it would be getting at 9th instead of 8th. For no good reason, we're promoting wrestling.
I
Yep.
mean, that's
I'm fine
some
with it.
Coney ass shit.
The good
I
reason
love
is
it,
compromise.
you know?
For the good
Kinda
reason
seems-
is that we have to find an endpoint, right? And we didn't plot this ahead. We didn't talk to Damon, right? So we don't know where the show's going to land, and so we just gotta, when we get handed a chair, you
Yeah,
just gotta
this-
hit someone with it. Right?
Listen.
That's how it goes.
My Neighbor Totoro, that's not even real. There's not even real
It's true.
children. Okay, they're not even real. The Good Place, that's real people, and then pro wrestling, that's also
Yeah.
real people.
It's real people.
I feel really weird about this decision. I'm fine with moving My Neighbor Totoro down. I'm not fine with moving pro wrestling up, and I'm not sure how it helps. But you know what? If everyone's good with it, I feel like what's good about this Hunter, you like it because it's a deal. Ezra likes it because it doesn't make any sense, and Anthony loves it because it's helping pro wrestling. So you've got a little bit of what everybody wants, except
Yeah.
for me. I'm not participating, but
You
I'll take
like
it.
it that
Wait,
the
no,
show
you
will
could,
end.
what?
I do like it that we'll move on from
You
the segment.
wanted-
Yeah.
Alex, you wanted the Good Place to go above My Neighbor Totoro. Don't talk
I mean,
shit
if I
on
had a
my
choice, I wanted
compromise.
it over pro wrestling more, but
Okay, you didn't get everything. That's how compromise
Yeah,
works.
that's
Is you did
compromise,
get
baby.
one thing. The only reason My Neighbor Totoro is at 10 and not 9 is because that's what you got.
Wow,
Is
I
it?
have
Either
gone
way,
full circle.
of these three, I just want to
into-
say, for the record, of these 3 things, my favorite by a lot is My Neighbor Totoro. So I'm
no, your
the
favorite is
coolest
making
person.
a deal. You just
You're
like
the-
you
I
like
just
being
like
part of
making a deal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here to make a deal.
7 Human Children, 8 Pro Wrestling, 9 The Good Place, 10 My Neighbor Totoro, and 11 romance novels. That's the new that chunk of the master list. Okay, we got some business to do. Let's do some business.
Ooh, business time.
All right, couple things on the docket. First, a couple of quick, honest 5-star reviews, including this one from dbacksgirl177. This is an honest 5-star review for Alex. What a great 5-star review.
Thank you.
Wait. It looks like it was 2 stars. Is it 5 stars? I can't tell.
It's 5 stars, yeah. What does it
well,
look like?
5
It's 2
stars.
stars.
Because for me, 2
It
of the
says
stars,
review
2 of the stars are
over
covered
it?
with the word review.
Oh, it's just the zoom level you're at, the way these like segments, these sections work on Figma. Yeah, anyways, this is a 5-star review. And then we also got another honest 5-star review from El Prepwalk that says, "These boys is funny and weird, and I like boys with a Z." So
Yeah.
that sounds like Hunter wrote it secretly, but I don't mind. If you used your burner account to give us a 5-star review, I'll take it.
I've been trying to get our morale up, and I've had to buy a bunch of iPhones to do it. Okay, it's been very expensive.
Bonus content: Hunter buying new iPhones for burner accounts.
Unboxing iPhones just one after the other. Just that's all.
I have one comment I want to read from the youtube.com/AlexFalcone. She who speaks in verse says, "Hard disagree with Bree last week. Hate to do it, but the sun is such a woman, and the moon is such a guy." So Bree, with no argument from us, said the moon is a girl and the sun is a boy. Now that she's not here and it's only boys, what do we think? Boy moon, girl moon.
I mean, are we talking suns and moons in general? Because I think suns can be boys or girls. There's a lot of them. There's There's
No,
literally.
we're talking about our sun and our
we don't
moon.
mean
Yeah.
a moon. We mean
There's
the
literally
moon.
non-binary
moon.
suns out there. I mean, you can go to NASA. That's a real
Sure.
thing. This
Well, yeah,
storm-
ours is a non-binary
I mean,
sun. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Technically,
actually a good
yeah.
point. Most stars are binary. We have a non-binary star, although there are still some theories that we have a nemesis star we haven't found
What?
yet. But since most stars are
Is
binary,
that true? How would that? How
yeah,
would there be a star that we wouldn't know about?
Oh my
Very
God,
far
it's
away.
space stuff and Alex is talking. It's probably right. I'm not gonna. If Alex starts talking about space stuff, I'm like, he's probably right about this.
Boy, wait
It's
till
not
you
a-
get through the rewatch. You'll know enough space by the end of
It
Star
just
Trek.
seems like they're
it's not a super popular theory, but there is a theory because of there's a periodicity to asteroid collisions with the Earth where there's like huge numbers of asteroids hit us on a certain like every few million years, which is what you would expect if there was a second star pulling a different gravity full of asteroids. So we have to pass through the other star's gravity. But if it was far enough away and in the certain kind of line, we would not be able to see it. If the sun and its nemesis star orbited every 10 million years or something like that, we wouldn't be able to find. Anyway, not proven and kind of a controversial claim, but there's some people who think that because most stars are binary systems. Anyway, so that's a good point though. Our sun is non-binary. What do we do with the moon though?
I mean, the moon is a guy
Really? Why do you say that?
because has to get light from someone else. You know,
Oh,
is
okay.
up late by himself. You know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
kind of just like he looks
Up
like
late
a
by himself.
yeah. He just kind of looks
Just like
up
you
late
walking
by
around New
himself.
York.
Look, it's just a dusty ball. All right, and if there's anything I know,
It's true.
that's
Yeah.
a
The
guy
The moon
thing.
is
Dusty ball's
real,
the guy thing, right?
real clingy.
Have a dusty ball.
You know, it always is kind of hanging
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Just sort of shows up. It has all these.
Well, I'm gonna. We'll see if
There's
this changes when I
trash
talk
all
to
over
you
it.
because I have a couple moon updates I want to say before we go. Also,
Yeah.
I want to let you know next week we are taking a week off from the podcast. I'm traveling, so we have no show next week, but we'll be back after that with something that I'm very
There's
excited
some-
about. We're going to have another Hunter
Some moon
episode.
shit happened this week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so Bree mentioned last week that Russia was about to land on the moon, which was true. Luna 25, their mission to the moon, the first mission to the moon from Russia since Luna 24 in 1976, was supposed to land on the south pole of the moon this week, and instead it exploded. It crashed into the moon hard and
Still
blew
a
up.
landing, to be fair. I mean,
It did touch
Yeah, I mean-
land. I don't know if we call that a
Yeah, I
landing.
mean-
It's a
Yeah.
hard landing.
It's a hard landing. We have had many moon missions where we smashed into it on purpose. This was an accident. They lost communication with it. And
So
then it
Russia
crashed
kind of
into the surface.
lobbed something at the moon, basically.
Wait,
They wanted it to land softly, and then it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I did learn since last week that when Apollo 11 was happening while we were landing on the moon, Russia had another orbiter going around the moon at the same time, getting ready to land a robot there. So they were just above. You could possibly have even seen it at some point from the moon.
are you going to
but-
mention India also?
They have not landed yet, right? I
No,
mentioned
they
this last
did.
week. They did land? Like this afternoon?
Bam. Yeah, it happened.
It just happened while we were recording?
Like within like the last hour or so. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened while we were
Wow.
recording. Holy cow.
That's really cool.
Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft landed on the moon. The second one failed last year. I did not know that because we've been here. Good for especially if somebody doesn't like the news. Good for you.
I mean, I don't know. This is a success. And also,
He
we always
doesn't
say
like
third
Earth
Chandrayaan's a
news.
charm.
He loves space news. He doesn't love news about space.
Is that the only reason you brought that up, Ezra? Will you just be honest with me for a second?
Come on.
Are you sure? Sometimes you do stuff and it just always feels like a long con just to
how
get.
would I have known about a second or first Chandrian?
Yeah.
All right. I wish this was true.
So the other thing I want to say, one more quick thing about the moon that I did not mention last week that I've since been corrected on is last week I mentioned that the science of the moon, not a lot to learn up there. Who gives a shit, mostly? And that is, it's not wrong overall, but there was one thing in particular that we learned from Apollo 11 landing on the moon and bringing back a bunch of rocks. Have you guys heard the story of Theia? Theia? Theia?
No.
It's a Greek. It was one of the. Anyway, I don't remember what Thea is named after. One of those. But
one of the Titans, dude. One of the Titans.
One of the Titans. That's what I was trying to say.
One of the Titans.
So from Clash of the Titans. One of the Tennessee Titans. Anyway, so Thea this is the leading theory on where the moon came from. And what happened was when before we went to the moon, we had no idea what it was made of. And Anthony, you mentioned that last week. We brought all these rocks back. We analyzed them, and there's a certain kind of oxygen molecule there, and there's a certain kind of titanium molecule there that basically made us realize that the moon is made of the Earth. The moon is Earth stuff. So before it, there are a bunch of different theories on how the moon could have come to be. A lot of moons are just very small planetoids that get kind of just trapped in gravity and become moons. But because it's made of the same stuff, it seems like it must have come from us. And so the leading theory for where the moon came from is a smaller planet about the size of Mars called Theia, crashed into proto-Earth, the early version of the Earth. Its core went into the core of Earth, fused together, made one super planet, and parts of Theia kept going on and became the moon. So it was two planets combined into one planet, and the junk from the extra bits went off and became the moon. So the
but
moon,
not all of it. So some of that other planet is still part of Earth.
the bulk of it is probably us, which explains some stuff about the way Earth's core seems to work and Earth's size.
It's like a metaphor
Wow.
for my wife and I's relationship making a baby. With two planets that crashed into each other, we made
You guys crash together and a little baby goes flying off and then circles around you for a while. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not how I have sex, but I can see for some people that it's like just running at each other from a great distance and
don't
bouncing
knock
off.
it till you try it. Why do you think I like pro wrestling so
Yeah.
much? That's literally like half of what it is. That's where I get all my moves from.
Oh, I want to see the intros, you know?
All right, that is it for Moon Talk and for the business. Let's wrap up this show. All right. Thank you so much for listening to The Best Thing Ever. Our theme music is by @Matrix. Our logo design is by @Tom Typography. You can find us on Instagram @BTE Pod and YouTube at Alex Falcone. You can also leave us an honest 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you can review podcasts. 5 stars only, but make sure you're being honest about it. You can send us an email. Let us know what you want to see on the Patreon. Mail at bestthingeverpodcast.com. You can also support us through that patreon.com/BTEpod, including some of our high-end Patreons, our fancy patrons, our producers, Ranger Patrick, John the Consigliere, the Duke of Jill, the best assistant regional manager Sean, and Claire, title TBD. Hey, let's go back. You guys remember Two Hosts and a Lie from earlier. The lie was Ezra again. The hat picked you, Ez, 2 weeks in a row.
Look at me.
As far as I know, you have not auditioned for 3 different game shows.
No, I have not auditioned for any.
Good, because sometimes like last week I guessed and I was too close.
Know, yeah, something.
But I do think my personal feelings is that you are hot enough for The Price is Right.
I don't know if that's. I mean, thank you.
So I do know, because I have had friends on The Price is Right. Like, you just sign up to go watch, but then they interview everybody and decide who's the most fun to put on TV. So it's not random. But you are chosen from the audience. And if you buy group tickets, I don't know if this is still true, but for a long time, if you like 20 people came to the audience, they would guarantee one would get on the show. So you could sort of, they'd pick the hottest one, the most fun one, or whatever.
Friends.
I did have an ice cream named after me by Salt and Straw Ice Cream. It was Falconiac. It had freckled chocolate in it. It was very good. It's very good.
Nice.
They never made a cognac variety before. Did not keep manufacturing, I assume, because it was too cool. Anthony, you were
You do have some of it
you were
still.
taken down?
Yes, I was.
I don't still have the ice cream. I still have the tubs. Some of the in fact, I have one right here. I could have brought. This is one of the first samples. Can you zoom in on? There you go. One of the first samples of my salt and straw.
Nice.
Alex Falconiac. You were grounded by a faith healer, Anthony. You were taken down. Sometimes I'm taking fun facts from stories you've told publicly, and I'm making some assumptions that those are true, but we'll see how that goes. And then Hunter, you do have when you told me the fun fact, it was, quote, I have a fucked up hip. So I changed it to a misaligned hip bone, because if that was not real, it would sound like a fucked up thing for me to have said.
I don't think that I think calling it a misaligned hip bone actually might be incorrect as far as like what the outcome is for me.
I thought it was worth it for not sounding like a douchebag personally, but yeah.
Well, it's just that I don't really. I mean, it's not like I think about this really. It's just my hip's weird. That's all you got to know. I got a weird hip.
Yeah, you got a fucked up hip. Like your hip was way too excited for old boy. You know what I mean? Like your hip is just like that hip's fucked
my
up.
hip. Oh my god.
We love Hunter, but his hip is
hip
pervert.
first.
Yeah, his hip is in some weird stuff. Wait, your hip, the hip side just scooting into the theater, being so stoked for old boy is a
Dude,
really
that's
funny
how he
image.
enters every room, is hip first.
Hip first.
I'm hip first every time.
Nothing but hip, baby.
All right. First of all, you can find me on TikTok at Alex_Falcone, and you can come see me do some stand-up. Portland, Oakland, Denver, Fort Collins, Reno, all that and more coming up. AlexFalcone.ninja to learn more about it and get tickets. Come see me. At EzFox on Instagram.
EzFox.
Yeah, you know, no one was going after Blue Sky for some reason, so I'm changing the bait. Let's see if we go find me on some other place where I don't care if I'm not doing anything on.
I do love Blue Sky, but
well, you should have sent your your Blue Sky name and an invite. That's what you should have said.
If you had an invite
legitimately,
code.
if you want to invite anyone, like I have like
I
4
also have
invites.
extra Blue Sky invite codes. This could be bonus content. This could be if you join Patreon and you're like, I want a Blue Sky code. I might do it.
Yeah, I don't care. Do it. Ask us. I want to shout out to my Facebook hive mind. So Alex, Ajay, Amy, Andrew, Eamon, Don, Derek, who like Derek, Therese, Jamie, Kate, Kelly, Layla, Leslie, Rebecca, and also Shelly.
I love that you almost alphabetized your hive mind, but threw Therese right in the middle. I love that.
You know what? Who can know where T should go? That's what I say.
Anyway, thank you to all those people. Anthony, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Hunter, to all your Old Gamers Almanac listeners who already got that joke, you don't need to do this. But if you didn't get that joke Hunter made earlier, go listen to Old Gamers Almanac.
Check it out if you like video games. Also, you can follow me on Backlogged, which is letterboxed for video games, and I'm just Hunter Donaldson on that. So you know, actually, I don't even know if you can follow me, but if you can follow, go to Backlogged and see if you can follow me, and then follow me.
Great. I'm gonna do it.
Thou shalt maybe follow Hunter Donaldson on Backlog?
I don't remember if you could follow people on it, but I think
I'm gonna find Backlog. I'm gonna sign up.
Yeah. No, you can follow people. You can follow people. Follow me on Backlogged. Do it now.
Okay. Good. I'm glad you can follow people. All right. We'll talk to everybody next week with more Best Thing Ever. Bye.
Bye.